Welcome to Practical AI, everybody. My name's Jeff. I'm with Peter Lynn. Peter, this week, Sora came out with their ability to do prompt videos. So you could essentially put in a prompt and it would create, I think, up to a 4-minute video. What is happening here? Is this a big advancement? And where's this going to go?
Yeah, so it's some pretty cool stuff. My bias take is yes, it's pretty big stuff. What I see is people that have a story that they want to tell, but they don't have the budget to create a movie. They can use tools like this to make their own little movies. Yeah, like if you look at that video, it's got reflections, the woman's walking, the mammoth one. The ice looks really kind of fake, but like it looks good enough.
So essentially what's happening here is someone has just put in some sort of written text prompt that says, hey, make me a video about a guy stuck on a salt planet or something, and he's trying to escape through a spaceship or something, right?
Hmm.
It creates these videos. So these are all these are totally AI
Yeah.
created content, right?
Yep. Yes. Yeah. And so the 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 YouTube sphere, a lot of people are asking questions like, "Oh, is this the end of the world?" Like, no, it's not the end of the world. But if you look at Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, and other startups that have been doing generated videos, they've been doing it for over 2 years now, but the quality hasn't been at this level, right? So that's the big advancement is now you can generate movie quality videos from a prompt, albeit for a few minutes only right now. Like this one
And
was historical footage of California during the gold rush,
was
right?
this possible 2 or 3 years ago?
No, so this was not possible because there wasn't enough hardware.
So NVIDIA doing their thing helps make this possible.
Yeah, I mean, when I ask other people in the AI sphere, they're surprised it took so long. But to me, I was actually kind of surprised that OpenAI managed to get to this level so quickly because the H100 chip was announced last year, and it wasn't only, I mean, it took Microsoft quite a few months to build out their H100 cluster, which I think officially went online around late last year. So I thought it would take them 3 to 6 months to get enough training time to build something better. Well, so now we're in February and they've got something that is significantly better than Midjourney and a lot of the other platforms.
So the hardware had to be there. What about the models themselves? Is there a tremendous amount of training that's gone on that's allowed this to happen, or advancement in the model structures themselves, or what
No,
the
in
models?
fact, they cited a lot of papers from Google, and a Google researcher had a snide remark on, I think, on Twitter X and said, "Hey, it's like, you can send me a gift or something," was basically was a basic joke. Because they're taking techniques that Google pioneered
Okay.
several years ago, and they've just scaled it up.
Okay.
And in many ways, this is similar to what NVIDIA does for games, which is called DLS's deep learning super sampling, where you take, so in the case of games, they take like an 8K image and they shrink it down to a 2K or a 1080p. So basically, they reduce the resolution. And then they tell the model, hey, scale this up to 4K or 8K. And then they compare the scaled up version to the original. And so this is how NVIDIA trains models so that you can play a game with a lot of ray tracing, reflections, a lot of details, high fidelity stuff, but then use the model to scale it up up to a bigger size so that you don't have to do as much processing. And the reason for that is if you actually try to render an 8K full ray trace image, it would be really slow. You might get like 4 or 5 frames per second, which is not really playable.
All right, so
I think
based
that's
on the pace, go ahead, sorry.
so for a game to be playable, it needs to be at least 60 frames per second.
You know, you were talking about you weren't expecting them to get this far this fast, maybe. How long until we are at full-length feature films that are of a quality that people like love?
I think that it doesn't have to be photoreal yet for it to be a cool. I think if you think about cartoons and animation, you can have a very compelling story with a lot lower fidelity, right? Like it doesn't have to be photoreal. And
Okay.
so with model, if you fine tune it to generate animation, this would probably be enough to give you an animation that's like maybe 10, 12 minutes, which would be plenty for a short animation.
Yeah, and so how long? How long till we have basically Monsters Inc. Done at the Pixar quality?
I don't know, but I'm gonna guess it'll probably be less than 2 years.
Okay.
If I had to guess. Um, just because there's several other companies that have gotten up their H100 clusters. I know that AWS has. Um, and Meta Facebook also is building theirs currently, so they'll have theirs up pretty soon. So then we'll have Microsoft, we'll have AWS, and we'll have Meta all doing this kind of training on their shiny new H100 clusters. So
Okay, so let's just go out 5 years from now and think about the future, right? So it's not really, will there be any Steven Spielbergs left? Um, or how many, but it's almost as if will anyone be so good at prompts that they would ever make two popular movies? Because if you distribute this horsepower to 6 billion people, essentially all you need is the best prompt, and you'd have, well, I suppose you'd have some editing and stuff like that as well, but
yeah.
ultimately it's theoretical that unless there's some magic in editing, you know, you might be one and done in terms of your ability to create a movie that everyone likes.
Well, absolutely. I mean, there's plenty of YouTube videos where someone created a short animation on One Man Shop and it goes viral and they get like 50 million views, right? So that already happens today. It just means that if you're creative and you can come up with a compelling story, your barrier to entry is much, much lower now. Because in the old days, if you're Steven Spielberg, you had to go to a studio with your script, you have to green light it, and then you gotta like get your casting person to audition dozens of actors and actresses.
Yeah.
Then you gotta hire your key grips and your cameras people, your staging and
Cater lunches
yeah,
and
and all that stuff. And end of the day, you're spending $10 million just to like get everything together to start shooting.
right.
And then you have a typically shooting schedules are like 30 to 60 days. And they just shoot as much as they can. And then they go away for a year and a half and they edit.
So in 5 years' time, most of those components will just kind of disappear, or could.
Not necessarily. So you could still have a set designer,
Yeah.
right? So now the
Editing.
set designer's job is to do a combination of real sets, miniatures, and prompting.
Mm.
Because like, okay, some things might look better if you just build a physical set, right? If it's like you're in a dining room, well, he can just go and get furniture. There's no need to do a prompt for that. But if it's something different where the person can't build a physical set, well, you prompt. And you do like 80 prompts. and you pick the 30 best ones, give it to your editor.
Yeah.
And then now
What was the other Pica or Pika or whatever, the other video one that we looked at?
I forget.
Yeah, but that in that one you could actually give it like an image and it could create a video out of the image.
Yes.
So to your point, you could create better sets, have
Yeah.
Sora or some similar thing go with that set design
Yeah.
essentially. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So now you can get your set designer to design the set in Sora or some other tool or Midjourney, and then you can have your actors act on a green screen. The editor then composites those things together.
Yeah.
Now you've
So
got
it's
like
essentially like the CGI tech, from 20
yeah,
years ago, just kind of we would be integrating at that point. Well, this is
yep,
awesome, Peter. It's a cool, really, really amazing tech that's just seems like every week we're getting like exposed to another amazing thing. But appreciate
yeah.
the debrief, and we'll look forward to any comments or ideas. And we'll see you again next time. Take care, everybody.